Hello, everyone. Mono7, Mary, Pantheon, Celine, Karen. How is everyone? Is as always, please tell me if my volume is okay. Just say yes if it's okay. Everything's good. And you? Today it's a good day. Not like last week, but today I'm okay. And I'm super happy because all the clips from J Hope's concerts have been super, super cool. And also the live stream. I was at the live stream. No, I was able to watch J Hope live on his live stream. Hi everyone. I want to go to a concert so badly. Me too. I wish I could have gone. But even though I some of us didn't go, I feel like the positive energy from the concerts are good for the fandom, even if we don't go. So J Hope last Friday. That's awesome. I love the concert on Friday. I was able to watch the one on Friday, but from the one from yesterday, I only watched clips. It was incredible. Yes, I. It was really really crazy. I went to the concert in Brooklyn second night. That is awesome. And now the concerts, J-Hope's concerts have been so crazy. I just cannot imagine that BTS tour. My son and his friend went to the one in San Antonio. Unfortunately, I couldn't go because I had surgery. That's that sucks, but like I said, even just watching the clips and everything, I love just these concerts. These times when there's concerts and tours, it almost feels like I am there watching all the clips. First solo Asian artist to sell out a stadium in USA, right? Yes. So actually, for the news on Friday, last Friday, I prepared um like J Hope's slide about him being the first solo artist, the first Asian solo artist to sell out a stadium. And then I don't know if you guys know, but it went it was crazy because it kept saying yes, like he did sell out the stadium, but then it was like no, it's a glitch. And then it was like technically it's sold out. And in the end it was sold out, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for the actual concert to start because the news kept changing. Just being in the arena with Army, I got goosebumps. It was my very first BTS concert. I totally understand what you're saying because just being at the venue with all the armies is also crazy. It's very, very fun. Ticketmaster kept adding seats to max the capacity. I know that. I saw pictures and the seats were so close to each other. They really they tried selling as many seats as they could, definitely. Forbes article made me cry. I was so proud. We're actually going to read a little bit of the Forbes article today because I also found it very, very interesting. I really liked it. There was almost no space between the seats. Yes, I saw the pictures. Everyone, everyone was so close to each other. I saw pictures of um, where you were sitting down on your seat, your knees were touching the seat from the one in front of you. That's how close the seats were. They almost they almost added seats on the stage. I mean, if they could, I think they would have. Because they sell, I find that crazy. They sell seats that have limited view, and that's basically you cannot watch the concert properly from those seats, but they still sell those. I hope everyone was safe though. Yes, I think everyone was safe. I saw that everything went very well. Sardines. Okay, so today I thought that we would um let me see my screen. So actually I wanted to talk about three different things, and then I realized that those three things basically are about the same thing, which is putting BTS on a box because of the K-pop label. Um Also with each member, it's always putting them in boxes. And I found it interesting that this past week, it was not just J Hope's huge concerts at these big stadiums, but it was also, Jin had kind of like a moment in social media. I don't know if you guys saw that. Jin went very, very viral this past week because of one specific tweet that everyone was, quote, retweeting with very positive um, edits and not edits, but moments and videos about Jin. And it's really amazing because it really shows that BTS, specifically Jin and J-Hope, are not just the funny ones. This past week, I feel like it's been their week for real. And they really have broken like the box of this K-pop stereotype of the funny one, or even not just K-pop, because I feel like in boy bands this always happens. Like there's always like the funny one, and BTS are way more complex than that. It was so fun reading all about Jin. It was so wholesome. Yes, I I selected some of my favorites, so we're going to watch those today. And also, we're going to watch some of J Hope's reviews from the concert. And then we're going to get a little bit angry because you'll see when we get there. But yeah, this is all about K-pop rules and demands and boxes that people put BTS into that I think it's not correct. So for the ones of you who have no idea, um, this tweet has become very, very popular. It has 22 million views. It says, Seokjin radicalized BTS, but you all are not ready to hear that truth. So apparently, armies were ready to hear that truth because so many positive quote retweets saying, yes, it is true. Sometimes I feel like not necessarily new armies, but people in general, audiences, when they see BTS, they see Jin and J Hope as the comedic relief. They are the funny ones. But when it comes to Jin, let's start with Jin. Jin has very strong opinions about many different things, and he has influenced BTS in many ways. Um, he's not just the funny one. He really has he has very strong opinions, and he loves setting boundaries in a very lighthearted way. That's his way of showing his opinions and his boundaries. Reasons why he's my bias. Yeah, he's really awesome. Um, Jin is honest and straightforward. Yes. So, for example, this tweet says, since day one, people just aren't ready for it. And this is from American Hustle Life. Yoongi said, uh, through Jin Hyun, we are going to see world peace. So that is just one comment that I found interesting to start this entire thread of tweets because it's very special. I love his view of life. Same. And I love that so many people are noticing it and celebrating it. So this other tweet says the existence of each jin in itself. Feeding Tanis, especially Jungkook, getting TXT pizza, gifting a hyped set of bowl and chopsticks. Imagine debuting in 2013 K-pop sphere, being the official visual slash face of the group, and having a food blog where you encourage people to eat. The contradiction, because we all know the how dieting culture is in K-pop and how visuals are so important. So when Jin is selected to be part of BTS, he kind of becomes the visual, the handsome one in BTS. And with that position, with that power, he decides to actually, I'm going to celebrate food and have this show about eat Jin and share all of these recipes. That is, it sounds kind of fun, but if you really think about it, there's much more to just the fun stuff. Exactly. He's like the older brother everyone wants, honestly. Exactly. So for example, Jin shared pictures. He wrote, "All right, I Jin will attempt to make bread today because I've been obsessed with bread lately." And this other one says pink for real man, which again, two in one, not just about diet culture, but also toxic masculinity. He doesn't care. He loves pink, so he's just going to use a pink plate. Like it's ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous, but it really shows how he always had these thoughts and he just explains them in a very lighthearted way. That's his way of expressing his opinions and setting his boundaries. This is a letter by Jen. It says, "Hello, this is Jen. I thought all this delicious food would be a waste if it's only for my stomach. I filmed this because I wanted to share this with you guys as a video. You guys worry about me all the time, but I always exercise hard as much as I eat. So important." He says, "Yes, the reason why I am uploading it at this time is because I wanted to make you guys hungry. If you guys feel defeated, order one for yourself now. Oh, and finally, my category has been created in the Bangtan blog. If you look at the upper menu, there is Jin right there. Look forward to it from now on, please." Again, he really, he's not the typical idol who is the visual and just cares so much about, he defies the diet culture in K-pop specifically. "I hate love when people get surprised by how much Jin shows his talents, that he gets shy showing them most of the time." Yeah, definitely. Toxic masculinity is scared of him. Yes. Here's another one. It says, Jin says, "Just because others are having difficulties, it doesn't mean that yours get any less difficult. Every time I remember it, it makes me cry." So here's the clip.
힘든 일이 안 힘든 게 되는 게 아니잖아요. 그러니까 언제든지 힘들면 남들한테도 나 힘이 들다. 나 좀 많이 봐주고 위로해줘라라고 언제든지 꼭 얘기해 주시고요. 2017년에는 항상 건강하고 상처받지 않는 한 해가 되었으면 합니다.
So again, it's like he always shared this idea of speaking up because remember that this was before the Love Yourself trilogy. So all of these ideas of love yourself, speak yourself, if you really think about it, they came from Jen because even though he's laughing about it, he's joking about it, about how he's worldwide handsome and he loves himself more than anyone else, he inspired that in BTS. People always view Jin as only visuals, but he's so wise and genuine about everything while being lighthearted and warm. Exactly. That's what I like about him because it's easy to just explain all of these things in a very straightforward way, and I like that as well. For example, Namjoon is very introspective with that. Also, Yoongi, they explain their experiences, and that is also fine. I also love that. But Jin is more lighthearted and casual about it. And yes, like you guys are saying in the comments, RM confirmed he inspired the Love Yourself trilogy, definitely. And here, basically, before the Love Yourself trilogy, Jin is saying to armies to speak yourself. And later, of course, speak yourself tour and this entire concept. Another thing, this is another tweet that I liked. It says, at a time when online communities were making fun of them for getting a paper award, K Media didn't acknowledge them much for their achievements, but for airport pics. This badass was at the airport flaunting it, so all media couldn't take a pic without it. So you guys remember, we all remember about the paper award. BTS won the Top Social Artist Award at the Billboard Music Awards first in 2017. And instead of celebrating it, a lot of people said that this doesn't matter because it's just a paper award. But Jin was like, no, this achievement is still an achievement for us, and we're going to celebrate it. And I don't care about anything that you say. Um, Again, while kind of being funny about it, he's always sharing his opinion in his mind. He's always speaking out. Jin was such a boss for this. Yes, definitely. Why others didn't get paper award then? Exactly, because this was a big achievement for BTS and for any South Korean artist. And what do K-pop stands do? They try to discredit BTS. They try to say this is just a paper award. But if it's just a paper award, why are other K-pop groups not receiving it? It's only BTS. For Baby Armies, when J-Hope said he would like to switch lives with Jin to see how he lives his life. For Asians as a whole, definitely. Because before BTS, the only one who went to an American Music Award, I think it was Psy. But he didn't win anything. He was just invited because of Gangnam Style and to perform, I believe, at the Billboard Music Awards. And then the invitations stopped completely. He was not nominated. He didn't win anything else. And even when it comes to Psy and Gangnam Style, he had to share the stage. And again, BTS had to go through the same thing on the Grammys. They had to share the stage first. But BTS came to a point that they are so, so big that they have their own stage and their own awards and all of this. And now K pop kind of has it easier, a lot easier, thanks to BTS. Let's be honest. And Jin is proud to show it. Just because Jin likes to let his members shine and be in the forefront doesn't mean he doesn't have a big input for the group. Yes, and that's why I love this tweet and these all of these quote retweets because it shows how Jin's mind impacts the group in a positive way. Jin is not just the funny one in the group. Jin is not just one singer who is more like a personality. It's not just that. It's his mind. It's his intellect. He has very strong opinions. That's why people are saying that Seokjin radicalized BTS because Jin has very strong opinions about very different things, especially about boundaries and about pride and about loving yourself. He's so much more. Exactly. He's so wise. Yes. And I love this because we need to put this in all of these new introduction videos to BTS because um I remember watching all of these introduction videos. My introduction to BTS is more about the sound, the music because it's for haters and skeptics and all of that and they don't really care about their personalities. They care more about the music and if they're going to like it or not. So I decided to focus on the music. But I know that there are a lot of amazing introduction videos to BTS out there, and I would love to see them include this side of Jin. It's not just the comedic relief. an important mind in BTS. Like, love yourself exists because of him. I've been trying to check if you were live for 30 minutes and for some reason it just not showed up. That is so weird because some people are saying that they didn't receive the notification. So that's weird. Okay, so here's another one. You guys were talking about this. A lot of armies don't know that the concept of love yourself, one of BTS's most successful eras, was inspired by Jin. The way to love oneself, making yourself happy, is by making others happy. And I have the video here.
근데 나 약간 그 남준이 형 엔딩 멘트 중에 이제
우리를 이용하세요.
이용하라고.
그거 사실 그거 사실 이제 진영에서 따온 겁니다.
This is so big, guys, because that line of Namjoon saying that clip of Namjoon saying use us to love yourself is so iconic and we all know it, and it's on many interaction videos to BTS. But Namjoon is saying that he was not even the one who said that first. Like that, he stole that phrase from Jin, and that is awesome because Jin inspired all of this.
되게 짠했어요.
네? 뭐? 그 멘트는 사실 이제 진영 거예요 원래. 나이스 따왔다고? 아 그래? 네. 본바에서 2에서 이제 형이랑 저랑 기억나요? 하와이에서?
맞아 둘이서 한번 그
나는 맞아. 남들을 이용하는 거야.
그래.
기억나요 형?
맞지 기억나지.
주앙 이거랑?
알지 다 알지.
뭔데? 그 차가 터널을 지나갈 때 나는 소리는 뭐 주앙 이거 하면서 형이 이 형은 자기가 행복하기 위해서 남들이 이용하는 거라고.
You guys were saying, I saw a comment. I like them to include that time he spoke against child manipulation during an acceptance speech. Yes, that is also another big thing because Jin especially has been the one to... When was that? 2018? I think Jin in 2018 or 2019, I don't even remember. He called out child manipulation while BTS were receiving an award. Daesang, I believe. 2019. Yes. Yeah, I think it was 2019, Mama. And Jin called the industry out because that, I don't know, guys, if you know this, but today, the news in South Korea are that Kakao has been, how is it? I don't remember exactly the headlines, but it's something like Kakao has been manipulating and advertising some songs over others. So it's kind of like chart manipulation. So again, this problem continues. And actually, some of those songs have won Daesangs. During BTS's military enlistment, of course, they have not won Daesangs, but you can check the songs that have won Daesangs during those years since 2023, I believe. And if you're interested, do some research about those songs. Kakao did more than just that. Kakao is the worst. Yes, because now they were exposed for chart manipulation. Literally today. I read that today, some hours ago. So again, Jin always putting everything on blast. He doesn't care. He's going to speak out. That speak yourself message by BTS, it's 100% from Jin. It's 100% from Jin. Hi Boy has a video explaining all the drama from Kakao. I'm definitely going to watch that because if it's not from BTS, I'm not really that interested. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, I would like to be informed a little bit. Yeah, I saw the news as well and was so not surprised. Yes, I also was not surprised at all. But yeah, that exists. 1 second, guys. I'm going to bring some water. Okay, I'm back. It kind of affects them because they are from Hive. Definitely, because like I said, look at all the songs, all the artists that have won Daesangs for the past 2-3 years while BTS were in the military. Look at those songs. Those songs, some of those songs are involved in that cacao thing with the charm manipulation. And I do wonder if they have won death songs without that charm manipulation. I wonder, I'm just asking.
아, 네, 나
Oops. Okay. So another one. Remember when Jin was asked to kiss Tae's cheeks? His words changed my life, and his healthy mind probably helped BTS go this far when this industry just takes and takes. Say no. So yeah, let's watch that clip because I remember that clip.
아니면 지금 이제 뷰씨 나오셨으니까 뷰씨 나오신 김에 두 분이서 볼뽀뽀 영상 찍으세요.
솔직히 저는 이런 거 같이 하고 싶지 않습니다.
아니 무슨 그런 말씀을 하십니까? 안 해요.
원하시잖아요. 원하시잖아요.
원한다고
아.
하니까 안 할 거예요.
아미가 보고 싶어 미치겠다고.
So basically, this clip, the interviewer asked Jin to basically do what's it called? Fan service. To kiss Taeyeon's cheek. And in K-pop, we know that this is like a big thing. And if fans ask idols for them to kiss each other on the cheek or whatever, they're probably going to do it. And Jin, in a very lighthearted, fun way, he sets boundaries. He says, just listen to what he's actually saying. He basically says, how can you even ask that? Like, that is not your right. Like, you're not even supposed to ask that. And he says it in such a fun way. I just love his delivery because he does have very strong opinions, like I said. And he loves setting boundaries. But he does it in a way that is not heavy and annoying even. He's so smart for that. Yes, he's very, very smart. He's so wise, I swear. He set boundaries in such a fun way that they don't even know how to respond. Exactly. It's fan service, yes. That's the thing. He knows how to correct you and set his boundaries without offending you. He always does that. Because especially now with Ranjin, so many, how many guests have been surprised by how Jin responds to certain situations. Jin refuses to do fan service. He refuses to just stay quiet. He's going to speak out always. But at the same time, while he speaks out, he's going to do it in a respectful way and also in a way that is not uncomfortable for anybody. He's very, very smart. And I love that people are finally seeing it. Here's another one of my favorites. This tweet says, Jin dismantling gender norms with that one classic clapback. The day when BTS was entering the variety event and hearing that woman in the background saying, makeup, oh, they're wearing makeup. And Jin clapped back with, didn't want the makeup to go to waste, so I took some pictures. So this was in 2019. BTS won Variety Entertainment of the Year or something like that. And they, I believe for the first time, they went to one of these celebrity/influencer events. And I believe they hated it. Like, I saw clips of the behind the scenes and they were so bored there. They haven't gone to any of these kinds of events again. But anyways, when they were entering not the venue, when they were entering the event, there were clips of a woman saying, like, they're wearing so much makeup. They're wearing so much makeup. And this clip was everywhere. I remember when this was happening because I was watching the clips during the day. And this clip was everywhere. Everyone saw it at the time. The woman says, they're wearing makeup. Why is there makeup? So much makeup. That woman kept saying that in that one clip. And I don't think Jin saw the clip, but that is just personal opinion. I believe that BTS maybe hear it there because BTS, I believe this was their first event of these kind of events with celebrities, not music related, just events for entertainers in general. This was the first one and the last one because they haven't gone to one of these ever again. And it's very funny because BTS really does hate this kind of after parties. Yesterday, during his live stream, J-Hope said that most singers, most pop singers, after they have their concert, they have after parties. And J-Hope said that he doesn't like doing those. He just wants to go to sleep. And I find it so interesting because so many artists take those opportunities of just partying just to network, which is fine. Like they can do that. But BTS has always been against that. They hate that. She had makeup on too. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's about gender norms because for that woman, only she can wear makeup and women should wear makeup. And BTS wearing makeup, like, oh my God, like that is not okay. So yeah, after that entire experience, BTS have not gone to any kind of event similar to this that I can think of. I think they haven't. And after this clip went viral and all of this, Jin tweeted on BTS's Twitter account. He wrote, I got my makeup done and it would have been a waste to not take some pictures. So I took some. So once again, being very vocal about his opinion. Again, in this funny way, he expresses his opinion. Like, I got my makeup done and I have to take some pictures or it would be a waste. But there is something more there about gender norms, that he doesn't care about gender norms. He loves his makeup and he's going to share the pictures of his makeup because he wants people to see his makeup. And I just love that. I think in Beyond the Storybook, they talk about this event and how much they disliked it and felt uncomfortable. I have not gone I have not finished the book yet. But I'm going to complete it and see if there's something about that. Because I find it very interesting that this was one of the kind of not influencer necessarily, but like celebrity event. Because there's no music. This type of event is just for networking, basically. And BTS went there for the first time, and then they haven't gone to one of these celebrity events ever again. One of the things I love the most about them is the fact that they break the rules without crossing lines or committing something illegal, the real definition of uniqueness. Definitely. Because I'm sure that Jin just stay quiet and then show everyone on the internet that he just loves he loves his makeup, so he's going to share a picture. Where was the event? It was in America. I don't remember exactly which city or state. But probably LA or one of those. Because it was for variety. It was in Hollywood, yeah. And I liked the entertainment of the year. I don't remember if it was entertainer of the year, maybe group of the year. I don't remember, but it was something for variety. And at the moment, of course, I was happy and all, just like BTS. But I really hate variety. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyways, here's another one. It says, it's from an interview. The interviewer asks Jin, you did all of that. You did all that and BTS Festa the day after you were discharged, and it's only been 8 days. And Jin responds, that's how I do it. You don't stop breathing just because the air's bad. I figure you gotta do what you gotta do, even if it's not under the best circumstances. And I love this mentality. Is it similar to the Met? I think so, but kind of more private. Because there was no broadcast or anything like that. There were just interviews and then a video from someone there of BTS receiving the award. The quote is so dope. Yes, I love this quote because he just went through all of this. He just finished the military service. But just because he had to go through all of that, he says that that doesn't mean that you stop. He just needs to continue and he's going to continue. You don't stop breathing just because the air is bad. You gotta do what you gotta do. Group of the Year for Variety Hitmakers Brunch. Yes, it was that. But I feel like I just don't like Variety because I'm not saying that BTS definitely deserved that title and that prize or whatever, but they just give it to anyone every year just to not give it to the one who actually deserves it. Because I feel like realistically, yes, 2019 was a big, oops, that was my dog. Realistically, 2019 was a big year for BTS, but they should have received the same title in 2020, realistically, in 2021. But no, it's more like an influencer event. Like, oh, this year is your year, next year is someone else's year or whatever. I just don't like that. Bora Dog. Yes, it was Bora Dog. Okay, here's another one that I liked. Seokjin called out this man for being rude to BTS when they weren't as famous. He always sets boundaries and he doesn't take anyone's he knows his worth. I have zero doubt that he's protected both himself and BTS from mistreatment. And first, let's watch the clip because that is so important to me.
있잖아요.
말 좀 조심해서 해.
맞다.
꺼지러 그러면 나 그때는 이제 상황이
그렇죠.
그때 이제 볼일을 보고 있는데 우연찮게 이제 방탄 친구들이 우르르 와가지고 연예인이다 그래가지고 내가
So Jin is basically calling him out. And I think that as the oldest person here, this other man is trying to say, like, he's trying to not let him speak, to shut him up because he has to be careful. Don't say the truth. Don't say your experience or what happened. But Jin is like, no, like, I'm going to share. I'm going to speak out. I'm going to say what happened.
꺼지러 그러면 나 그때는 이제 상황이
그렇죠.
그때 이제 볼일을 보고 있는데 우연찮게 이제 방탄 친구들이 우르르 와가지고 연예인이다 그래가지고 내가 야야 볼일 보고 있는 저리가 그랬던 거야.
아니, 손 씻고 계셨어요. 손 씻고 계셨어요.
I find this so funny because Jin refuses to let anyone just lie. He's never afraid to speak up. Yes, and I love that because Jin has been like that. Of course, this is a more recent clip, but Jin has been like this since debut. And this is why I mean that I understand that in K-pop there is a lot of mistreatment from the labels. And I know that, and I think it's important to talk about that, and it's important to expose the mistreatment that exists in the industry. But BTS has said many times to just trust them for one reason. And it's because they have people like Jin, they have members like Jin, and Jin is going to speak out. Do you really think that Jin is going to just accept being mistreated? Jin is not going to do that. Jin is going to speak out. Jin is going to defend himself. Jin is like that. And I believe that he is one of the reasons why BTS is so strong as a group. One of the reasons why they protect each other so much.
반갑다.
다시 반갑습니다.
아 진짜 반갑다. 영광이다.
And even while calling him out, he still says it's an honor, like respect and everything. I think there is a huge difference between how Big Hit treats BTS and how other labels treat their groups. Otherwise, they would not be the group they are today. I 100% agree with that. And I definitely believe that it's minds like Jin that are very outspoken. He refuses to stay quiet. Jin is the one who inspired the love yourself, speak yourself message from BTS. It's thanks to Jin. He is very outspoken and he sets boundaries all the time. Even while while laughing about it, he is like that. He does it in a nice way and very unique, like it inspires me, definitely. And I love that this is becoming like a thing online because Jin is way more than just the funny member in BTS, definitely. Here's another one. In an industry that benefits from hyper consumerism, he stands above all. If you like, this is what Jin says. If you like all three, you can get all three. But we're not that rich, are we? So, yes, anything you like. Once again, he has very strong opinions about different things, and he's going to express them in a very lighthearted way. And I love that about him. He shows that honesty doesn't have to be mean. Yes, and I love that. Um, they should make others fear them, not only because of ARMY, because of BTS themselves. Definitely. And I believe that I'm not saying that BTS is scary, but I do know that I feel like Hive just listens to what BTS is going to do next because like some days ago the Hive CEO said usually with our groups we do this, we release a single and then an album and then a tour, but BTS is BTS, so we're just going to wait to see what they want to do. BTS is a special case. They are superstars and they have their own way of doing things. So sure, for Hive and for most of artists in K-pop, is like single album tour. But with BTS, we're just going to wait to see what BTS decides to do. Because they have a voice, especially now with their comeback. This is going to be their third contract, and I know that BTS they are just going to do whatever they want to do. MK, we're going to watch that. I have the clip right here, so let's just wait for that. I found this other tweet. It says, "I don't think we talk about this enough. Seokjin made the loudest statement that day about misogyny without saying a word in front of national and international media in a country where women are often treated second class, in full Gucci glass no less." So here is the video. This is from when J-Hope was discharged from the military.
하게 그리고 무사하게 잘 마칠 수 있었습니다. 우리 진영 잘 부탁드릴게요. 진짜 제가 하고 싶은 이야기는 1년 6개월 군 생활하면서 제가 조교 임무를 수행하다 보니까
So I find it very interesting that out of all the look at these microphones, there are many journalists there. And the one holding the mics is the female reporter. But anyway, so the female reporter is holding the mics. And then Jin says, no, like, I'm going to hold the mics. And the female reporter stays there with him. And Jin basically forces her to say, like, no, like, it's fine. I can hold the mics. And then she leaves. That bouquet of mics must have been heavy. Pretty sure. Like, look at all these mics. So that is with J-Hope. And then this is the other one that MK was talking about. Oops. Sorry. He said nobody can make fun of anyone's appearance in my presence. This is from Ranjin.
아민 거?
알죠.
너무 신났다.
나 머리부터 발끝까지 보라색 아미.
다리가 이게 다예요? 다리가 이게 다예요? 미안한데.
다리 뭐 얼마나 길다고 지금.
그 죄송하지만 저희 채널에서 이제 비하 발언은 저만 할 수 있어요.
Again, always expressing himself and setting boundaries in a very lighthearted way, not making anyone uncomfortable. Because he could have easily called him out. Jin could have called these men out and say, "You're not making fun of anyone's appearance in my show. You're not going to do that." But instead of that, he says it in a more casual way. Like, if someone is going to make fun of someone, it's going to be me. Like, being funny about it. But there is a message there. There is a very important message there. And I love that about him.
귀엽다는 얘기.
이런 거 괜찮죠? 길이
그래, 너무 괜찮죠.
길이 괜찮죠.
He's so funny. If there's someone who is going to make fun of someone, it's going to be me. In my show, only I make fun of other people. And that's the thing that Jin, this is a joke because Jin doesn't make fun of people's appearances. He's just trying to not make anyone uncomfortable, while at the same time saying, no one's going to make fun of anyone in my show. Worldwide gentleman, yes. Here's another one also from Ranjin. Jin says, I don't understand why people scold others. If they don't know yet, if they don't know, just teach them. It's okay to not know because sometimes I forget to. So this is Jin about scolding.
물론 그것도 있지. 네, 그것도 있는데 제가 애들을 거의 혼낸 적이 없어요. 애초에 저도 지금 이 업계에서 10년 넘게 일하면서 아직 모르는 거 투성인데 얘가 이거 모른다고 혼내는.
This is mostly about seniority. Sometimes because of seniority, people just want to scold younger people. And Jin says, although I have seniority, he still doesn't have the answer for everything. And if someone makes a mistake, he'd rather teach them instead of scolding them.
막 그 구조가 저는 이해가 잘 안 가서 모르면 다시 가르쳐주면 되지. 또 모를 수도 있지. 나도 자주 까먹는데 그 생각을 갖고 있어서.
The views in each tweet, yes, I know, it's crazy. And these tweets, each of them, there are some with 5K likes, there are some others with 50K likes, others with 10K likes. And views, I'm talking millions here. It's crazy. This is part of BTS's message for change in Korean culture. So valuable. He says it in such a relatable way. That's what I love about him. Here's another one. Jin says, I think I wanted... No, how is it? Oh, this one is about hard work.
에 대해서 얘기하신 것 중에서 팬분들이 엄청 좋아하는 거 있던데 그거 수고했다고 오늘의 수고는 너가 알아주면 된다고 얘기한 거.
내가 한 수고를 이제 본인.
This is about the phrase, only you need to be aware of your hard work. And the interviewer is saying how admirable that is.
내가 한 수고를 이제 본인이 알면 된다 뭐 이런 뜻이었던 것 같은데 내가 한 4등 했더라도 그래도 나는 되게 열심히 했으니까 이제 본인은 뿌듯한 마음을 가지면 또 이게 얼마나 건강한 정신.
Again, being proud of oneself it comes back to this loving yourself concept that Jin inspired on BTS albums.
맞아요.
네,
아이고 참 건강하시네.
감사합니다.
건강하.
You're very healthy. And that is the influence that Jin has had on the group, not just as a group, but also in their music. This message, this mindset of Jin is reflected not just on the dynamic that BTS has with each other, but also on their music. Jin once said he has learned a lot from other BTS members. It's true. I feel like all of them are very smart. Like they have very, what's it called? Emotional intelligence. And what I like about these tweets is that now we're finally seeing Jin, celebrating Jin as not just the funny guy in BTS. He influences the group a lot, the dynamic of the group and their music. Here's another one. Jin says, I think that resting should be entirely selfish. I believe that uselessness is useful. I believe that you need to have days that other people consider wasteful to be able to focus more on useful things later. Jin taking away all the guilt that ascribed to the word rest. Again, very, very strong mindset. He has a very strong opinion that about rest, that uselessness is useful as well. We all need some rest. And I believe this is my last the last example that I have from Jin. This reminds me of Snooze, Yes, by Yoongi. It breaks my heart thinking about the time when Jin was apologizing in sleep because he got something wrong. I'm happy to see things like that that did not change him. I think he learned it by being the youngest sibling in the family, but being the oldest young of his BTS family, he understands both sides of the coin. Definitely, because I remember that there was one BTS introduction video where they explained that Jin is the oldest one in BTS, which usually means that he has like the last say, he has a lot of power in the group, but he doesn't use his power much. And that is so, so true. Hi San. Yeah, Jin doesn't use this power much because he is more complex than that. He just doesn't use that seniority power just because. He has very strong opinions about it, actually. He refuses to scold people. If there's someone younger than him that makes a mistake, he instead decides to teach them instead of scolding him. It's scolding them. He doesn't like scolding. They have such a healthy dynamic, definitely. So this is from Jin. And of course, there's more by Jin. No. So this past week, of course, J-Hope had his 2 stadium tours in LA, BMO Stadium. And there has been a couple of very positive reviews, which is awesome. And when I was reading these, I realized that some of these writers found surprising that J-Hope is not just the dancer in the group. Like he is not just all happy and the hope of BTS or whatever. He's much more complex than that. And I think this is the reason why the title of this stream is K-pop Rules and Demands Ruin BTS or BTS's art, because it's not just about Jin being the funny one. It's also about J-Hope being the funny one and just the dancing, the dancer and the one who is always happy. They're way more complicated than that. So for example here, this is by Los Angeles Times. I really like this one. It says J-Hope of BTS on his Billboard success and becoming the first solo Korean artist to headline BMO Stadium. So the interviewer says, with these upcoming performances, you become the first solo Korean artist to headline BMO Stadium. He is also the first Korean male artist to headline a stadium show in North America. Do you think that Jung Ho-seok of 2013, who seemed surprised to even receive a packet of fan mail, could have envisioned this? And J-Hope responds, of course, I could not have imagined back then that I would have this kind of life, and I really appreciate what I have currently. As time passes by, I'm really grateful to see more and more people listening to and enjoying my music. I feel like it's their support and passion that allow me to be the artist I am today. And then the interviewer says, Hope on the Stage in part is a tribute to your origins as a street dancer, but you also do a lot of singing in the show with a live band. You've downplayed your vocal ability a little bit, but you have a great voice that's really flexible. When did you first realize that you can sing? Was it a natural extension of rapping? And I love this question because it's true that not just J-Hope, but people in general put every single BTS member in one specific box. Even as simple as rapper. Like J-Hope's label is always the dancer, like the happy one, the hope of BTS or whatever. And all of that is true, but they are way more complicated than that. So I like that this interviewer is pointing out that people and even J-Hope himself downplay J-Hope's vocal ability because J-Hope is also a very amazing singer. An interviewer with an actual good question. I really liked all of these questions. Your video said it beautifully that all the members are experts at breaking out of their boxes. Definitely. And especially when it comes to the fandom, I feel like when I made my introduction video to BTS, I focused a lot on the music because I feel like that's what most people who are skeptics of BTS think of. Whenever I talk to someone that doesn't really like BTS, that doesn't really expect much of BTS, I try to explain to them their music because it's so flexible that you're probably going to love them even though you think of BTS as this pop group with K-pop songs and K-pop choreographies. They are way more than that. But when it comes to ARMYs, I feel like it's also their personalities. BTS are way more complicated than just, like RM is the introspective one. RM is also very silly. Like they are complex people. They are humans. And I really don't like this idea of like J-Hope is always happy or whatever. And J-Hope is way more complicated than that. And the same with Jin. Jin is not just the comedic relief of the group or whatever. He is very smart and he has very strong opinions. And that has changed BTS's dynamic and their discography in a very important way. They really aren't like other groups. I agree. I love that they show all the facets of themselves to their fans. I like that as well. They are the most diverse band in history, musically, personalities, every aspect. And what I love about them is that they show that to us. They show that to the fans because a lot of artists they decide to keep their personalities and their thoughts to themselves, and that is totally fine. But BTS is not like that. BTS is not like the regular K-pop group, and I don't like these K-pop rules being applied to BTS because of that. Because BTS is way more complex than that. So after this question, J-Hope answers, it's an interesting question. As I pursue music, I think I've developed a style that embraces versatility. Throughout this process, I try to explore and experiment with my voice in various ways, and I believe that's reflected in my vocals nowadays. I try to deliver my vocals in a natural way without forcing anything, and it seems like the audience appreciates that. Are my vocals perfect? That's something I need to think about. but I'm committing and striving to make it better. It's a bit hard to pinpoint a specific moment. Before my debut, I had vocal lessons, and as I started recording, my vocal style naturally began to develop. It's difficult to say exactly when the shift occurred, but it was a gradual process. And again, this is why I don't like the K-pop rules being applied to BTS by K-pop stans, because what happens in K-pop a lot is that you are the rapper, so you just rap, and you are the singer, so you just sing. And what I see a lot happening is that, I'm so sorry, I'm really trying to think an example that when this doesn't happen, but so many times in K-pop, they don't progress because they are in this one specific box, and artistic growth while being in a box is very, very difficult. And this is why I don't like BTS being analyzed with K-pop labels, because BTS are going to grow artistically in very different ways. And to say that I understand the K-pop line, I'm sorry, what's it called? The vocal line and the rap line. But even with that, it's a little too strict in my opinion, because as you can see here, J-Hope also sings a lot. He's more than just a dancer and a rapper. The BTS members are artists. And artists, without these K-pop labels, you're able to understand their artistry more. That's all I want people to understand, to be honest. They choose to grow when they genuinely don't have to. Exactly. And this is why analyzing BTS's music with all of these K-pop rules and labels like main rapper and main dancer and vocal line, all of this, I don't really see it working with BTS. I really don't. I feel like labels, this is an interesting comment. I feel like labels are genuinely scared of their artists, realizing how talented and skilled they are. They treat them too badly, and this will risk them knowing they could leave. Definitely, because just think of the history of K-pop. K-pop labels have never really liked solo artists. Even though with solo artists, I think that they could have broken into America. America loves soloists. And it's very interesting that in K-pop, they have to have groups, because that means that they can control these groups, because there's no individuality. They have to follow these rules that are set by the K-pop labels. And sometimes, like this person says, if a singer in one group, in one K-pop group, becomes too powerful, they can leave and they can have their own fandom and have their own power by themselves. So the label cannot do anything then. So I agree with your analysis, because it is true. If a K-pop singer starts growing artistically so much that can you imagine if a K-pop singer could make their own music and produce their own music and have an amazing voice and have an amazing artistic progress and grow and grow and grow? The K-pop label would be scared of them leaving. Yeah, it's like they don't trust their artistry. Maybe that's why labels always reject their idols to write, produce, or participate in their music. I find that very interesting, because that always happens. And I just never understood, because anyone who can see a little bit of how the American music industry works, or the Western music industry, how the Western music industry works, you will see that groups working in Western countries, or not just Western countries, but in the Western music industry or the global music industry, is not that likely. Groups are not that popular. The mainstream music industry loves solo artists. And if K-pop really is so desperate to make it in the West, like they show all the time. I just never understood why they cannot debut a solo artist. They don't like feeling they don't have full control over the artist. Yes, because at least with a group, um, if a K-pop group becomes popular, then the K-pop label at least has, um, if one member leaves, they have the other members, and they still have the power. But with a K-pop soloist, let's say that a K-pop soloist leaves that K-pop label, and they don't care about their past music with this label or whatever. The K-pop label has nothing. They would leave, the artist would leave and just have their own career, their own fandom. It's harder to control one person versus a whole group where you can guilt trip them. Oh, I agree with your comment though. But I don't understand that mentality because money is money, right? I feel like that's why BTS are allowed creative freedom because they proved it can make money. That's what I also don't understand. I don't understand if K-pop labels are really so obsessed with power that they refuse to let one of their artists really work, or they're really, really dumb. I don't really know. Probably it's both because I just don't understand. It's so obvious that what the Western industry likes has always been solo artists. And a strong solo artist, if you debut a strong solo artist from the K-pop industry and send them to the mainstream music industry, I believe that they have more chances of making it than competing against BTS against everything. Because I'm sorry, the group title, the group records are always going to be held by BTS. And also, you have like 3 years to debut groups and nothing happened. BTS is basically back already and they're still number one. Like, debuting more groups and more groups. And I'm talking about hype as well. I just don't understand why they keep debuting so many groups. I just don't understand because I'm sorry, it's not going to work. BTS is always going to be number one, and competing against that, it's too difficult. I say debut a strong solo K-pop artist, and if you really want your artist to make it. But no, it's like they want to make groups. They want to make groups happen, and I just don't understand. America has said for many, many times, for many, many years, they don't like groups. And if they like groups, they like one group. Because when One Direction was the number one group, the competitors were The Wanted and Big Time Rush. And then during that time, everyone forgot about The Wanted and Big Time Rush because it was One Direction's time and the industry can only stand one group at a time. So BTS is back already, basically. Why do you think that they're going to keep accepting all of these groups, especially when there's so many groups by each label? It's just not going to happen. That is just my opinion, though. America doesn't love groups so much because groups break up most of the time. I mean, probably because of that, but also, just historically, like America and Western countries, the mainstream music industry just doesn't like, they just prefer solo artists. Sometimes I feel like it may be because the idea of a group is a little bit corny for some people. Even when it comes to solo artists who are teenagers, standing as a grown person, a teenager like Olivia Rodrigo was not as weird. Even though Olivia Rodrigo, when she had her debut, everyone was talking about her, even like grown-ups, and they would listen to her music because it's not as embarrassing as standing a bunch of teenage girls or teenage boys. I feel like that has something to do with that. Groups are seen as corny and outdated, especially boy bands. So I don't know why they keep trying to make the boy band and girl group happen. Maybe if they debut, maybe if they debut like a a group like the Pussycat Dolls, with very sexy old women, like I'm talking over 26 maybe, they had a higher chance. But no, they keep debuting the same K-pop groups over and over again. I just don't understand why. But anyways, what was my point? You're onto something. That's just my random opinions because I'm really trying to understand why the K-pop industry is so obsessed with making groups, trying to explode in America and the Western music industry and the mainstream music industry. If I was a K-pop label and I really wanted to do that, I would debut a strong female solo artist that can compete against all of these social media influencers that are making music right now. Like, what are their names? I don't even remember. Like Madison something and Tate McRae, or there is a big opportunity there. And a strong female Korean singer, I feel like they could make it. Especially if they can dance and all of that. America wants that, but no, like they keep making the same groups over and over again. I just don't understand why. Especially with BTS coming back, it's just not going to happen. Madison Beer, yes, I think so. There's Madison Beer and Take McRae and Allison something. I don't even remember, but there's this whole genre of young female singers and they are all competing. And I think that a strong female K-pop singer could destroy them all. But someone who can actually sing and dance. And someone old, not someone who's 16. But yeah, debuting groups, I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it happening. But anyways, why am I talking about that? What was I saying? I was saying I don't know why we started talking about that. IU, here's the thing about IU. I'm not going to say if I like or dislike her music. I'm just going to talk about her music in the sense of this conversation. I don't feel like she can really make it in America because right now, when it comes to female singers in Western countries, they're not looking for a balladist or like someone who makes music like IU. It has to be someone who has like more upbeat music, who can compete against Sabrina Carpenter. No, not someone sweet, someone like stronger and edgy. Yes, exactly. Western markets want edgy. Exactly. Adele, yes, but Adele is not really like. I feel like K-pop wants to debut an idol, and if you want to debut an idol, the closest to an idol in America are artists like Sabrina Carpenter, who have like a dedicated audience. And Adele doesn't have fans like that. She has fans, but it's another genre of fans. Adele is not really a performer. Exactly. K-pop is so obsessed with performers, and their competition in America when it comes to performers are artists like Sabrina, who can dance. She's too cutesy. Exactly. So I don't really see IU making it. Yeah. But anyways, what was I talking about? Why a tangent? A little tangent there. So we were reading J-Hope's interview, and it was about, oh yeah, J-Hope being a really flexible artist. He's not just a rapper, he's also a singer, and so many people downplay his singing abilities, his vocal abilities. We were talking about J-Hope growing as a singer. Yes. Okay, so that is one from LA Times. This one is another review from Forbes. It says, review J-Hope's Hope on the Stage LA concert is a masterpiece. What I love about this article is that it starts with J-Hope of BTS reinforcing his family name. Yes, it's true. Because J-Hope opens the concert by saying, I'm J-Hope of BTS, and the article points that out. So this article by Forbes says global artist and BTS member J-Hope's Los Angeles concert on Friday night is a masterclass in creativity and music filled with energy, passion, and a surprise performance. The concert set was divided into 5 parts, each with its themes and moods, telling the story of the artist's journey. The opening VCR, a pre recorded video that helps present the story, showed a dark and cold world around J Hope, dressed in black, walking towards boxes with numbers on them. He opens the box with the number 23 on it, many interpreting it as the age when he created his first solo mixtape, Hope World. Inside the box, he is another persona of him, dressed in all white inside a red room, leading to the first theme of the night, Ambition. So, what I like about this article is that they explain how the set was divided into 5 parts, and each part is basically a new facet of J-Hope. His versatility as an artist. Try doing this to a K-pop singer. It's just not possible. What I like about this review specifically is this: the analysis of each of the 5 faces of J-Hope, maybe. So that is one about Ambition. The first set of songs performed were from Jack in the Box, which showed a darker side to the hope of BTS. What If, Pandora's Box, Arson, Stop, and more. Done in all red, J-Hope poured all his rage and passion into the songs as if he had stepped out of the box that had held him in for so long. The next video, as the next set was being prepared, referenced several of J-Hope's songs, including Chicken Noodle Soup and Airplane, as well as his military enlistment date on the wall of the Red Room, as the box being carried towards a safety zone and not to a song on his album. This led to his dream set where he returned to his hip-hop dance roots before becoming a member of BTS. He was part of his hometown underground dance crew Neuron, as songs from his extended play Home on the Street Volume 1 he entered the stage doing some smooth freestyle moves as if floating in air. His backup dancers joined him, with each dancer giving a moment in the spotlight. So what I like about this is that the writer is basically explaining that J-Hope has a set of songs that are darker. They are from Jack in the Box, and is the darker side to the hope of BTS. That's what I love about this article. The writer points that out, the darker side to the hope of BTS. And then the writer explains the more uplifting songs like Chicken Noodle Soup and Airplane. And also his dancing background because of Hope on the Street. The writer is correctly addressing so many of J-Hope's facets and personas and eras. And he or she, I don't know, Laura. So the writer is able to do so because the writer is looking and analyzing BTS. They are analyzing J-Hope from a non-K-pop perspective. And that's what I like about this as well. It's hard to believe this was the same person who had just performed with such intensity and fury from the set before, as he performed Lock on Lock, I Don't Know, and I Wonder. It became evident why he's the main dancer of BTS. He displayed different forms of dance. House, tutting, locking, popping, all without missing a beat, as he closed the set with trivia Just Dance, an upbeat love letter to the art of dance. The light sticks from the audience began to groove as if the sea of lights became a wave dancing with him. He closed out the concert with optimistic songs that represented his wishes for the future. One for equality, equal sign, and one for hope, future. His final song, Neuron, was his final wish of connecting with his past and reminder never to forget where you came from. He is J-Hope of BTS, something that his audience will never forget. Of course, I didn't put the entire interview. Who wrote this article? This article is written by Laura Sirico. Sirico. By Laura. Without any biases toward the artists they are covering. Yes, because like I said, a lot of K-pop journalists who specialize in K-pop, they start using this K-pop language, these K-pop words, these K-pop labels, these K-pop rules. That sometimes I'm okay with them, like it's fine, but I prefer when it's like this because just as a music journalist, not a K-pop journalist, but just a music journalist, by analyzing J-Hope's concert this way, you can see how many facets J-Hope has in his concert, how many facets he's showing. They use K-pop vernacular. Exactly. Here, I don't really see that. I see that the writer is analyzing an artist who has a strong set. He has a very strong story to tell. And it's divided in 5 parts, and each part is like this. And it starts with the darker side to the hope of BTS. And then it comes to the dancing side. And then to optimistic songs. So all of that. I really like this review because of that. She's ARMY, probably. I don't really know. But I prefer this type of reviews, to be honest. So yeah, I would recommend to check both of these articles. One is by Forbes, and the other one is by Los Angeles Times. So, okay, so I have one more thing to talk about. It seems, yes, it seems him as a full artist, not a K-pop rapper. Yes. And you know what? Now that you're pointing out that she's an ARMY, I really hope every ARMY analyzes BTS like this because I feel like it's happening more and more. We are just mentioning BTS as a group. We are just mentioning BTS as artists. Because when I first entered the fandom 6 years ago, that's crazy. I remember that so many of the language that was being used by ARMY was so close to K-pop. And that led me to some false narratives, to some false perceptions that now we don't use anymore. And I like that. Okay. I made so many assumptions as a baby ARMY. Yes, especially because me as a baby ARMY, it was crazy because I remember that there was this idea that was being tried. It was being people on the internet tried to convince me and a lot of baby ARMYs that BTS was not the biggest group, even though it was clearly the biggest group. Like I only saw BTS on the TV shows and on the award shows and all of that. But K-pop stands in general tried to convince so many new ARMYs back then that actually know that BTS is just famous internationally in America, but they don't have any records or important achievements in Korea. And I believed it for so long. Not for so long, but I believed it at first. And then I realized, I don't know about that. It seems like BTS is pretty famous in Korea as well. I mean, that same year in 2019, BTS swept with every single award that they were nominated to, um at the MMAs, at the Mamas, at everywhere. Being a baby army was wild. Honestly, especially being baby army in 2021, it was confusing, not gonna lie. Which is a weird argument, to be honest. Like, so they are the biggest? Yeah, so I believe that they were trying to explain, not explain, they were trying to misguide me by saying that BTS is only popular in the US but not in Korea. In Korea, this other boy group is more popular because they wanted me to listen to this other boy group. And I did, like it worked. their propaganda, it worked with me and I listened to this. But then with time I realized that nah, like BTS is also popular in Korea because they won every single Daesang that year. I could see it. I feel like other K-pop stans still do that. I feel like they do, but maybe not as much. I hope so. And that is also why I started making the YouTube channel, because I want baby armies to not be misled like I was. People can only pretend life for so long until the jig is up. Okay, so I wanted to talk about one more thing. It's almost worse now. I don't know, because sometimes I feel like when I was a baby army in 2019, I saw armies, so many armies talking about BTS with K-pop language. Like Jin is the visual and all that kind of stuff. Like I don't know. Now it's not as common, I'm seeing. And I see that it's not as common. I hope so, at least. Okay, so when did you become an army? In 2019, during the Boy with Love era. I knew about them since 2018, but I refused to be an army. I refused to become an army because I was like, no, like I'm not going to listen to a boy band or whatever. But then it was like, they are so good and they are way more complex than your regular boy band. I don't describe them with K-pop terms since a long time ago. Yeah, me too. And that's what I also see a lot of people doing on the internet. So I hope that that is changing. Okay, so one more thing that I wanted to talk about, but first, content warning. There is this one TikTok that is very, very annoying. It can be a little upsetting and it can infuriate you. So we're going to watch it just because I feel like it works with all of these K-pop rules and demands conversation. And I want to talk about it. So who is she? That doesn't matter. I just know that she is a K-pop stan. I believe she's a army multi. And again, like many people say, it's not all multis, but it's always a multi. So, or multi or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it. So let's start this very annoying video. Warning.
This is simple pop songs to please the masses, or
Wait. Okay.
this is a message for Hype. When BTS gets back,
Okay. First of all, 3 seconds in, everything is wrong. Because the first thing that she says is that she has a message for Hype, and then she starts talking about she has a message for Hype. And this message for Hype is about BTS's musical direction when they come back. Immediately wrong, because as we know, the ones who decide their musical direction are the BTS members. So much so that some days ago, the Hype CEO was asked about BTS's comeback, and the CEO said, we usually do this in Hype, single album tour. However, BTS is BTS and they do whatever they want, and we don't know what they're going to decide to do. We as Hype, we are talking to some songwriters around the world. However, that in the end is going to be BTS's journey. Like, they know what they're going to do. And Hype is basically saying, we're just waiting to see what they decide to do with their musical direction. So immediately from the first second, this is wrong. Message for Hype, BTS musical direction. You don't ask Hype for BTS musical direction. In any case, if you want to have some kind of demands, you'll have to make this message to BTS members because they are the ones deciding their musical direction, not Hype. So immediately, this is wrong.
This is a message for Hype. When BTS gets back, I don't want an album of simple pop songs to please the masses or the American market. The US will probably ban foreign influences soon.
Okay, no. So this person says that they don't
I
want...
don't want an album of simple pop songs to please the masses or...
They don't want... She doesn't want an album of pop songs for the masses. This doesn't really apply to BTS because BTS has never. Later in this video, this person explains that she doesn't want Dynamite. She wants Black Swan. And first of all, Dynamite was half a decade ago. Can you process that in your mind? Dynamite was half a decade ago. That's number one. Number two, it's very funny that you only talk about Dynamite and how much you don't want Dynamite anymore, because in which album is Dynamite part of? Yes, in which album is Dynamite in? Dynamite is part of B, a very introspective album about their personal experiences during the pandemic. But no, people like to single out Dynamite because it's for the masses or whatever, it's for mainstream public. No. And even if, let's get back to 2020. All of these famous pop singers, they were not doing serious stuff because everyone was going through a hard time. BTS didn't have to release B. They really didn't have to. They were going through a very difficult, hard time. And BTS really didn't have to release B at all, but they still did. And while also doing so, they released Dynamite, an uplifting song that everyone was doing at the time. However, they decided to release both an uplifting song for everyone, Dynamite, and put it on this very introspective album that they didn't have to release. No other pop singer released such an introspective album about the pandemic during this time. No other one. Also, the diversity of the solo projects, you think they're just going to forget that they discovered their own little flavor of music? Exactly, because once again, Dynamite is half a decade old. That is 5 years. That is so long ago. And in these past 5 years, BTS has released so much more music that is so introspective. So this thing of saying like, this person doesn't want Dynamite, they don't want something for the masses or whatever, pop song for the masses. First of all, that is not something that BTS would just do. And even if they want to, like, who cares? They do it so occasionally. But because they did it once, half a decade ago, that is like the new BTS? Wrong.
Or the American
Yes, Dynamite was a product of the circumstances back then. Exactly, because that's the other thing. Everyone in K-pop, in mainstream pop, everywhere was making fun pop songs during the pandemic because this is a real phenomenon that happens in music. When people are going through hard times, recession pop happens. which is basically, this is started in 2008. Entitled Teresa, thank you so much. Hello, I posted a response video to this. Really? I want to see it. Let me know where I can find that. Because in 2008, recession pop started being recognized as recession pop. And it was because people were so stressed because of the crisis that they started making more uplifting music. So the same thing happened in 2020 and the same thing happened again in 2024. And BTS was just doing what everyone else was doing because they are normal artists and they're going to release uplifting music if they want to. And they could have, like I said, like every single other pop singer, just release Dynamite and be happy with it. I would have been happy with just Dynamite. But no, they still decided to be very introspective with their album B. They didn't have to do that, but they did it because they're very, very introspective artists. I don't know why Dynamite keeps being brought up like it's this negative thing in BTS's discography. She had the nerve to post another TikTok and said, "That's why others don't like ARMY," painting us as the villain for calling her out. That is just ridiculous because this expectation demands, not even expectation, this demand that she has for BTS, I just find it very funny that it's just for BTS. Because why don't you demand things like this from other K-pop groups? Oh, right, because they don't even try to be introspective like BTS. So you feel entitled to ask BTS for something. And also, I just don't understand all the obsession that K-pop fans have with Dynamite. Why does it hurt you so much that Dynamite did so well? At a time when everyone wanted a song like Dynamite. The world needed songs like Dynamite. During that time, the songs, not just from BTS, but from every single pop artist and mainstream artist, they were fun. They were uplifting because we were all going through a hard time. I'm sorry, but armies needed Dynamite. Armies needed Dynamite. We didn't need something depressing because we were all going through a hard time. BTS did the right decision by making Dynamite. It was an amazing song released at the right time. When other K-pop groups, they don't have any problem with them releasing English songs, doing OSTs, or Hollywood collaborating with Western artists. Yes, they don't have any problems because they don't actually go mainstream. But BTS is a problem. It's an obsession to them. It's crazy. This Dynamite is half a decade old. I'm sorry, but I have other songs, newer songs to listen to. BTS paved the way. Thank you so much. And you are right. BTS paved the way. I love Dynamite and I've been obsessed with Dynamite, but I'm sorry. Right now, I'm obsessed with the newer releases. Dynamite is half a decade ago. Right now, I'm obsessed with J-Hope's new songs and Jin's album and Right Place, Wrong Person and Hope on the Street. Like, I'm sorry, there are new albums. How dare BTS be successful? Exactly. But no, like Dynamite is that girl for real. It is. Dynamite really is that girl. Has everyone obsessed with her? Everyone is obsessed with Dynamite. This half a decade old, like, there's no other explanation than the success affects them because BTS has released so many introspective songs since Dynamite. Not just B, which was released. Dynamite is part of B, which is a very introspective album. BTS has also released since then Proof, with very introspective songs like Yet to Come, For Youth, and Run BTS. And then the solo songs, the solo albums, completely different journeys, each and every one of them. But no, Dynamite is stealing everyone's minds. I just don't understand. Like, I'm sorry, not even I am that obsessed with Dynamite. Of course, I love Dynamite, but right now I'm more obsessed with the newer songs because I actually listen to BTS's music. But when they release introspective songs, they say they don't know how to have fun. It's just Dynamite's success that has everyone having nightmares about it. Like, how dare BTS be this mainstream? I'm still a prisoner of Tear, Mic Drop Fire, House of Cards, and Autumn Leaves. I can't break free from them. I'm sorry. You don't have to be sorry. Like, I totally get it. It's not about that. It's about the fact that this K-pop stands like saying old BTS is all of those songs and before Dynamite, and new BTS is Dynamite and just Dynamite. When new BTS, I'm sorry, but at this point, Dynamite is an old song. I said it. Dynamite is an old BTS song. BTS's new music is completely different. I'm talking Face, Muse, Indigo, Right Place, Wrong Person, Jack in a Box. Those are the newest BTS songs. That is the new BTS. And the new BTS is extremely introspective. Thank you so much, Kashi. Having a cheering song is what armies needed. Exactly. Not just armies, but the world. And that was proven in the numbers because the world and armies, we all needed an uplifting song. BTS were not the only ones to release an uplifting song during the pandemic, but they are the only ones being singled out by K-pop stans because how dare they be this popular? Dynamite haters are more obsessed with it than those who love it. 100%. Like I said, I really love Dynamite, but that is kind of like an old song, and there are new songs. I just don't understand why, quote unquote, the new BTS is Dynamite. No. Dynamite is old. Move on. If you hate it this much, like, move on. Anyways, that was the first part.
Market. The US will probably ban foreign influences soon anyway. I want it personal and I want it poetic. I want to know what the members felt and thought during the time they were away from the spotlight.
How dare you demand anything from BTS's personal experiences? We don't do that. If BTS wants to share their experience during their military service, that is their decision. I would never ask them to make an album specifically about their military experience. That is so personal. And if they don't want to talk about that, I'm not, like, demanding this is crazy. Saying, I want it personal and I want it blah, blah, blah. No. No. We don't do that. And this is why. This is why it's not all army multis, but it's always an army multi. Because these, once again, the title of this stream is K-pop Rules and Demands Ruin BTS's Art, because I understand maybe that you have these demands for the label for other groups' musical direction, but you don't do that with BTS. If you actually listen to BTS's words, if you actually listen to BTS's music, especially during chapter 2, you would know that BTS has their own, they choose their own musical direction. And if they want to explain their personal stuff, they're going to. And if they don't want to, they're not going to. Especially during chapter 2, we can see how they decide the subjects to explain and which subjects to not explain. And also, it's their personal life. How dare you to say, I want it personal, I want an album about their military experience? No. No, we don't do that. And that is so personal. That is crazy. And you would only do this with BTS because BTS are real artists. and they explain their personal experiences all the time. So this is the only reason why you only dare to expect this and demand BTS to explain their personal experiences. Why don't you have these kind of demands for other K-pop groups? Because they don't even have that power to share their own experiences. Too late, their comeback is probably already planned out. Right, so that's the other thing that I forgot to talk about. If she was an army, you don't have to be like a hardcore army even. Just be a tiny bit updated with BTS. You would know that BTS's next project is what? Everyone knows what BTS's next project is about, that they've been talking about since 2022. You guys all know, right? We all know what they're going to do next. The most beautiful moment. Exactly, thank you. Everyone is saying already in the comments. The most beautiful moment. HYYH, the most beautiful moment in life, 10-year anniversary. The members have said it. During Suchwita, out of Suchwita, during interviews, Bang Shi-hyuk has said it. That is their next project. Their 10th year anniversary of the most beautiful moment in life. There's going to be some kind of project. We don't know if an album. We don't know if an EP. But that is going to happen. And the fact that you don't even know that you don't even have to be a hardcore army. We all know that. But no, she wants them to demand a very introspective album from BTS, and it's like, it's specifically about their military experience. I find that so weird, because that's the other thing. BTS is going to have the most beautiful moment in life project, and I love that. However, I have this example with J-Hope, for example. J-Hope he released his darkest album ever, Jack in the Box, before going to the military. He goes to the military, which is very hard. Going to the military is not something easy, especially for artists who don't want to be military people. They want to be singers. They want to sing. They have said it many, many times. Namjoon is counting down the days every single day. He wants to get out of there. So this is a very hard experience for them. So J-Hope releases this very dark album, Jack in the Box. He goes to the military, and the first thing he does when he gets out of the military is creating this fun songs where he can finally express himself in a positive way. He's finally is free to have some fun with his music. So of course he's going to release songs like Mona Lisa and Sweet Dreams, which are more sweet and fun, because that is his experience. That is his experience. And if BTS wants to do the exact same, if BTS wants to come back and just have fun with their music, I would love that. The fact that you are demanding BTS to talk introspectively about their military experience is crazy to me. Like, you cannot demand that. Jin and Happy, exactly. Like, Jin decided he was out of the military and he decided to talk about happiness because they're finally out. They're going to celebrate. And if they release Dynamite 2.0 when they release, I'm going to listen to it every single time and I'm going to celebrate it because BTS are finally free and they are happy and they want to celebrate it. Demanding the opposite is crazy. Jin's album is literally happy. Literally. Yes, that's too much. They don't have to talk about that. Why would you demand that from them? I totally agree. Like, demanding anything is crazy. But demanding one specific experience, you want them to open up. What if they don't want to open up about that? You don't get to demand these things. And you only do this with BTS because BTS are very introspective with their lyrics. But you wouldn't ask the same thing to any other K-pop artist. That's private life. Exactly. If BTS wants to share their experiences, we'll listen as fans, but we don't demand ever. We don't demand ever. And a full entire album and you want them to be introspective and no. If BTS wants to come back and release Dynamite 2.0 and celebrate and be happy, just like Jin released Happy, and just like J-Hope released Mona Lisa, I'm going to let BTS do that, and I'm going to celebrate alongside them because no. Who are you to demand they talk about their military experience, take several seats, and shut the fuck up? We respect whatever they decide to share and not share. Exactly. Because I'm sorry, BTS decides to not share, for example, their personal relationships and their family members, and I don't know anything about them, and I don't care. They share enough on their music, and I'm going to listen to that. But I would never demand anything from them like this. This is crazy.
I really want to feel it, okay? So they were away from the spotlight. I really want to feel it, okay? So less Dynamite, more Black Swan. Can we all just agree on this?
No, I don't agree with this. No, I don't agree with this. No, no, no. So BTS just went, just was discharged from this place where they don't want to be in. And you want them to, you're forcing them to basically revisit all of that, explain all of that. No. Because the first thing that Jin did, the thing is, if you were an army, you would knew this. You would know this. Jin was out of the military and he wanted just to talk about happiness. His album is called Happy. J-Hope was out of the military and he just wanted to have some fun and have some TikTok challenges and have some fun, and like, it's just crazy to me. No, I don't agree. Can we all agree on this? No, I don't agree. I completely disagree. If BTS wants to release another Dynamite, I will celebrate with them because they are finally free and maybe they just want to sing about having fun and being free. No, I don't agree with this at all.
Okay, thank you.
No. No, 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 no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then we are the toxic ones. Like armies are the toxic ones. Armies are annoying. Armies are the toxic ones. No, like you are the toxic one for demanding BTS to talk about their personal experiences out of the spotlight. That is crazy. That is crazy. BTS will talk about whatever they want to. And if you were an actual fan, you don't even have to be a hardcore fan to know that BTS is going to release The Most Beautiful Moment in Life 10th year anniversary project. They have said it many, many times. You don't have to be a hardcore army. If you knew this, you wouldn't be acting this crazy. But Army Multi, I guess. It's BTS's decision. Yes. What if they release something they never did before? Then what? Yes, exactly. But no. Is this idea, K-pop idea, that Dynamite bad because mainstream and Black Swan good because Korean? Like, I'm sure you don't even understand Black Swan. I'm sure you don't even understand Black Swan. Because BTS was comfortable enough during that time to release Black Swan. And what if they're not when they come back? Like I said, Jin released Happy. J-Hope released Mona Lisa and Sweet Dreams. They don't have to explain anything about their personal lives. They don't have to. They're going to release the music that they want to release. They're going to explain the experiences that they want to explain. Nursery rhymes, let's go. That's why she feels she has a right to say things like this. Yes, because I just don't understand how anyone in the entire world can think this. How anyone in the entire world, army or not, let's just, for a second, tomato soup, let's go. Entirely Teresa, thank you. Why would anyone want more songs about how they don't love music anymore? Right. Because that's the other thing. Just because people keep saying Black Swan is so deep, Black Swan is so deep, do you understand what Black Swan is about? It's about a horrible time that BTS went through when they were scared of losing their love for dance and music. Do you really want them to go through that same thing again? And to make a song about that again? If they really went through these experiences during the military out of the spotlight, and they want to just have some distraction and talk about happy stuff and how celebrate or whatever, that should be okay. Black Swan hurts, like, yes. Like deep songs, cool. Yes, I'm sure this person has no idea what Black Swan really is about and how hard of a song it was for BTS to compose. And because they are artists, they decide to share these experiences, but they get to decide when to share these experiences and if they want to share these experiences at all. They get to decide that. And also, let's remember that from the very first second, message for Hype, why is Hype going to do this? What is Hype going to do about this? Hype has no say in musical direction, which also I find it very interesting because I don't know if you guys notice on my live streams and videos, I try to avoid saying Hype when it comes to BTS because Hype has no word when it comes to BTS. If anyone, is Big Hit because BTS's label is Big Hit, an independent and unlisted label under Hype. Hype's CEO some days ago, not long ago, Hype's CEO was asked about BTS's comeback and he said, we usually do this, but BTS is BTS, so we don't really know what they're going to decide to do. We don't really know because that's the truth. Message for Hype, you're saying nothing. Message for whatever because not even Hype is aware of BTS's plans. Maybe Big Hit is, but the decision is by the BTS members. If you were an army, you would know this because BTS screams this all the time. Trust us. We know what we're doing. Please, if we say something, we actually mean that. Like, does right place, wrong person not exist in her world? Was with still using Black Swan as an example for introspection. For these people, nothing came after Dynamite. Exactly. That's crazy to me because how can you still use, like, at least use something like an introspective song that is closer to today? Like, I don't know, anything from the solo albums, or if you want to even keep it from the group songs. If I had this feeling, I would say, I don't know, For Youth. For Youth is extremely, extremely introspective, very heartfelt lyrics, very heartbreaking, just like Black Swan, just in a different way, has another message. But you wouldn't know that because you're obsessed with Dynamite. And it's before Dynamite, that's one BTS. And after Dynamite, that's another BTS, when that's not how this works. Take Two, even. Exactly. See you on Wednesday. I can't pronounce your name, but it's okay if it's late over there. So see you on Wednesday. Dynamite being so hardcore in their heads says so much about them. I just don't understand the obsession because I get it. Like, I love Dynamite and it was a big deal in pop culture and it impacted a lot of people's lives. It was an amazing song, very uplifting. I needed Dynamite. I genuinely needed Dynamite. If BTS released Black Swan, let's say during the pandemic, I don't know what I would do because I would be so sad. So I needed Dynamite, and I think the world needed Dynamite. Um, so I was obsessed with it at the moment, at that moment. But like I said, I don't understand this obsession that K-pop stars have with Dynamite and its success when it's half a decade old. I still need Dynamite after the pandemic. Yes, I still listen to Dynamite. Roxy, thank you so much. I love your your profile picture. Baby Yoongi. Obsessed with Dynamite when right after was Life Goes On. Exactly, because that's the other thing. I understand also wanting liking more the introspective lyrics. And I love that as well. I mean, when Dynamite was released, soon after, very soon after, Life Goes On was released. And I was obsessed with Life Goes On. I memorized the entire Korean lyrics, including the raps from Life Goes On. So I totally get that. I totally get liking more the introspective songs than the fun songs, but demanding BTS to specifically talk about one specific thing from their personal lives right after going through a hard time, you cannot do that. That is a crazy thing to demand. And even having this tone of, can we all agree on this? No, I completely disagree. And you are crazy because I'm not even talking about BTS. BTS are very versatile artists and they're very honest with their music. And if they want to be happy and have fun, they're going to. And if they want to be introspective, they are going to. But I would never demand that from them. I was saying that even if it's not BTS, anyone demanding this specific styles of songs and messages and all of that from any artist in the entire world, that is crazy. That is crazy. And at this point, I really hope for BTS to really do anything they want to. If they want to release a very fun song, good, because annoying people like you are not going to be here. But if they release something very introspective, of course, I'm also going to love it. And the most beautiful moment in life is going to be here. So you would know that if you were an army. Mariana, thank you so much. I'm 46 minutes behind your actual live stream, but you chose so interesting topic, and I thank you for that. Love you. Thank you so so much, Mariana. If you're 46 minutes behind, good luck watching this video because this was really annoying. I tried watching it once and I was, oh my goodness. If she listened to Right Place, Wrong Person and Face, she'd notice similar introspective sentiments and appreciate instead of complain. Exactly. So that's the other thing that I don't understand. K-pop stans like ignoring BTS's entire discography after Dynamite. And actually, they make like a jump. It's Dynamite. They release, according to them, they release Dynamite, they release Butter, and then Permission to Dance, and then Military. And they are not. They didn't release anything else. When they released Dynamite because the world needed it, and they released it alongside B, a very introspective and a little bit sad but also hopeful album. In 2020, then they released Butter. Then they released a Korean song with Coldplay, My Universe. And then they released Permission to Dance. And then they released 3 very Korean songs, Run BTS, For Youth, and Yet to Come. With music videos and everything, they even went to music shows and they performed at the music shows these very introspective lyrics, these very introspective songs. And then they, each of the BTS members, they release their own introspective albums. I just don't understand this kind of demand. Be and proof erasure. Literally. And also, what about Take Two? People keep forgetting about Take Two, and what about Be and Proof? What about Be and Proof? And we have so many live performances. It was a moment, it was an era yet to come. And for youth, they had their moments. BTS went to music shows. So it's not like they completely they it's not like BTS released Dynamite, Butter, and Permission to Dance. They promoted those, and the rest of them they released, but they didn't promote. It was not like that at all. BTS performed Yet to Come and For Youth many, many times, and then they also perform and release a dance practice, and many TikToks with Run BTS. So the erasure is crazy. And also, let's remember that Dynamite is half a decade old. Also, when was Film Out released? Wasn't Film Out released after Dynamite? I think so. Film Out 2021. So we're also forgetting about 2021, about Film Out. Like, I understand loving more deep meaning songs because I myself love them more, and that's why I became an ARMY in the first place, because majority of BTS songs are deep. But talking like this is crazy. Definitely, because we all have our own preferences. I do like introspective songs, but I definitely care more about the hard hitting songs. Like, that is my preference. However, BTS have released so many different genres and so many different styles of lyrics, introspective songs, hardcore songs, soft songs, fun songs. They have released everything since Dynamite. They released lots of OST too during that time. Yeah, so I think Your Eyes Tell and Film Out, all of those songs, very heartfelt songs, heartbreaking songs, amazing songs, were released after Dynamite. She Got Frozen in Time. Definitely, just like every other K-pop stan. And we're forgetting the Festa songs, Bicycle, Blue Side. Yes, as well. Like, BTS have released so many songs since Dynamite, but the obsession is real. Like, Dynamite is really that song because everyone is obsessed with it. So, yeah. So that was all I had for today. Jin and J-Hope being more than just the funny ones. They're very versatile artists and very smart people, emotional intelligence, and also BTS in general. They are more than just these, like, K-pop rules and demands. They just don't work with BTS. They just don't. I love this picture. I do love this picture as well. That's why I chose it. This was during the actually this was while BTS were promoting for Yet to Come and For Youth. This was for one of the music show performances. Very introspective songs, by the way. 2022. Very, very introspective, heartwarming songs. heartfelt songs. What is Wednesday's live stream topic? For now, I only have the analysis because we did the streaming party from the 1st of April to the 7th of April. So I have some results, but I'll probably also add something else, another topic. So we can talk about two things. Kushi, thank you so much, Kushi. BTS is so much more than what the public thinks of them. Definitely. Definitely. And I believe that, thank you so much. I believe that K pop rules and demands, they just don't work with BTS. And we should just completely address them as artists, not as K pop something, K pop artist, K pop visual, K pop dancer. That is just a disservice to BTS. Something happens every day, so you may have that topic to talk about. Yes, probably. So I'll just wait if something else happens. But for Wednesday, I'm definitely talking about the results for the streaming party because the results really say a lot. And also, let's remember that J-Hope is going to release his third song, and it's, I believe, the last song. He's going to release it very, very soon as he starts the Asia leg of his tour, which is basically right now. And for that third song, and also we need to continue with Sweet Dreams and Mona Lisa. So let's talk about how to promote those a little bit. So yeah, 2 years just flew by, literally. We are 75 days away from BTS's full reunion. For the 7 members to be here together, which is awesome. Okay, guys, so if there's nothing else, thank you so much for being here. Will you keep the playlist up? Yes, I will keep the playlist up, but today is the last day from me sharing playlists. So, yeah, that is all. So, thank you everyone for being here. Again, I'll be here on Wednesday at 4 p.m. ET. Okay, so thank you everyone. Goodbye. Say hi to our sister. I will. Okay, see you on Wednesday, guys. Thank you.